Hey everyone, welcome back to Alchemy with Xerophayze. I'm Eric, and in this video I am going to go through my workflow just for some basic stuff, talk a little bit more about Stable Diffusion SDXL and what you need to watch for, and really how to get some of the best results out of it. So as you can see, I have my Stable Diffusion interface up, and right now I'm selected on a model called Sahasrakoti. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but it's a fabulous model. There are a ton of models out there for SDXL now. I mean, really, it's just a matter of pick your favorite. What does it do? What do you want to do? Go to Civet AI and look and see what models do what. And they have a ton of them now. It's great to see the involvement people have and what they're building for this. It's absolutely phenomenal, especially the ones that are building the refiners into the models. I kind of still use the refiner once in a while, or for a lot of my stuff. I don't think the one I currently use, like this, the Sahasrakoti, I don't think it has a refiner built in, so I do use a refiner on that one. So it really depends on what you want to do. This particular model is what I call a generalist model. It's very well trained on a lot of different things, whether it's digital illustration, abstract, realism, photography, that kind of thing. It does a really good job. Okay. With most of the newer SDXL models that come out, you don't need a heavy negative prompt. Most of my negative prompts are pretty heavy, and sometimes I will use them, but they are not entirely necessary. Another thing to note about the SDXL models is they are very good at interpreting your prompt. They will give a pretty good level of detail, even with simple prompts. You could say photo of a goat on a mountain. And I'm not going to use a negative prompt. I just want to see what it does. So we're just going to hit generate on that. Okay. And you get a photo of a goat on a mountain. The SDXL models are much better now at legs. You're not getting, 5 legs or 6 legs on animals that shouldn't have 5 or 6 legs. I do have my settings set to, by default, now go to 1024 by 1024. The SDXL models, that's what they're trained on. They are trained on different aspect ratios. You can look that up. I have some of the built-in ones as part of my aspect ratio helper here: 1:1, 3:2, 4:3, 5:4, and so on. Okay, it's good to have that as it really helps. Yeah, that's a pretty good goat. Not bad. Did a lot of good detail on the ground and everything. Lighting, I didn't specify anything about the lighting. I didn't specify anything about the environment. I just said on a mountain, and so the AI interpreted that pretty well. Okay. You can pick and choose your samplers. They have some new samplers out with the new version of Automatic 1111. The more notably is the DPM++ 3M series, the DPM Adaptive. Now, I haven't played a lot with these. I still find myself using the DPM++ 2M, or what is it, plus SD Keras. I'll use Euler A lot still, but I am starting to move into the DPM++ 3M SDE Keras. Okay. All right, so you don't need a high sampling steps either. As you notice, I did 25 with this. I think anything above 30 to 40, I found. I did some testing a little while ago in one of my videos. It really doesn't net you much in the way of better results. If you really want the details, leave it down at a lower one, enable the refiner. Just so a lot of you know, they did change something on this. So a lot of us, and it took me a while to figure this out, when you go to one of these extensions, usually they have like an enable detailer or enable whatever, and you have to click the enable to enable it. Okay. When it comes to the high-res fix and refiner, all you have to do is open it. Okay. Open it, select your refiner model. I have one in particular I use called the refiner VA. See, it's SDXL v1.0 refiner VA fix. Okay, so there's I don't know if this is still an ongoing issue, but the original refiner they came out with had some issues with memory management, and so and they had to have a VAE for it, and so this particular one implements those fixes. Okay, with the refiner, you have a switch at slider bar, and what this means is that at what point in the rendering does it switch over to using the refiner and adding more detail? And I've heard people give different opinions that for every step here, sampling step, for every 5 sampling steps you would want, or for every step you'd want 5 steps here, or something like that. I don't know exactly what the ratio is, but I like to stay between 0.7 and 0.8. Now, I have had some very interesting results and some very interesting images when you slide it all the way down. You tend to get, because the refiner is trained on a lower resolution, you'll get a lot of duplication of things. Like if we were to switch this down to say 0.2, let's go ahead and just generate that. You'll kind of see what I mean here. Let's see what it does here. So we hit 20%, which is the 0.2, and then it switches over to the refiner and starts doing the refining. As you can see, it does some very interesting things. Now, when you're working in abstract art, sometimes that's really cool. You know, you get, I did some really bizarre HR Giger-ish landscapes, very biomechanical with bodies and stuff like that. And doing this technique actually netted some really cool results that I loved. So you have to kind of just experiment with it and see how it works for you. Let's see, there's the refiner. Slide that back up to 0.8 for right now as we go through this. I'm going to leave it open. Something that most SDXL models really excel at now, taking in a lot of the details. Now, if you add a lot of detail to your prompt, if you use the break command, it will interpret those really well. So, but what I'm going to do, we're going to set up a scene. I want to do another nature shot. We'll just say a really good nature shot of a goat, but we're gonna really implement this, go through my workflow so you can see this. So let's get rid of this here, and we're gonna leave all the other settings. We're gonna go ahead and switch this over to Euler A because it does tend to render faster. I think with a refiner, it does tend to negate some of the softness that Euler A has. And then we're going to go up, we're going to generate some prompts here. And I want to see professional nature photography of a goat. We'll say majestic goat on a rocky pinnacle at sunset. Okay, let's make sure we select our model. Okay, so just so you know, some of you may have seen my previous video. This is an extension I built around my prompt generator. You can get it for free off GitHub. It doesn't come with a prompt generator, but you can add your own prompt generators, your own pre-prompts or seed prompts to it, so you can start utilizing this inside of Automatic 1111. Okay, so we're going to just do 4 prompts, and I want to get some style in there. Okay, we're going to submit that. Takes just a few seconds to generate those prompts. What this will give me is a lot more detail. I've given the GPT AI a lot more creative freedom to be able to add elements, emphasize the proper wordage and features of each prompt. So we're going to grab those, head over to here. Now to utilize multiple prompts, you want to go down to script and select prompts from file or text box. Okay, and it adds this field down here. You can paste those in there. And as long as there is a paragraph break, you don't necessarily have to have a line in between them. I do. I like being able to see each prompt. They just need to be, there needs to be I guess a carriage return to indicate the separation of the prompts. But I like to see the space. Okay, so we have 4 prompts in there. I want to see some deal. I'm going to bring this actually down to 0.7. We're going to leave everything else the same here. We are going to change this to, I want to see what it would look like, a really tall aspect ratio. So we're going to flip that. So it's going to be a 9:16 vertical, essentially. For this, I am going to add my prime negative prompt, and then we're going to just reduce the negative prompt effect down a little bit to 0.3. You're still going to get a lot of effect from the negative prompt, but it won't be as strong, so it gives the AI a little more flexibility in what's in the scene. Hit render on that, and you'll start to see the images come across. I'm only doing 1 image per prompt, so we should see it 1 image at a time. Okay, there's that. So what I've done with my prompt generators, it does add in camera information. It'll add information about light and coloring. It'll add details to the scene, so you get something that's a lot more natural, a little more cinematic almost, or just details to the background and something that looks like it could have been a professional shot. Okay, I'm going to let it go through this, and we'll be back in just a second. All right, there we go. So as you can see, we've got some nice vertical images. I love these images because they tend to give like these really cool long distance vistas. And it did a really good job maintaining the prompt I wanted. The goat out on a rocky outcropping and with mountains in the background had a lot of good detail. Added detail more about the lighting too. Go through these. Got a lot of detail around the rocks and what's going on there. This one even did it as a black and white. I'll bet you this one included the name Ansel Adams in it. Let's see. Oh, Franz Lanting. Okay. And then that one's a little interesting because the goat's got its head turned all the way back around, but I love the atmospherics you got going on here. The stormy sky. The light from behind, it maintains. I love how the AI just knows, like if the light's coming from one direction, to maintain that consistency throughout. It's just fascinating. Okay, so again, play around, experiment with different models. One thing you may want to do, a lot of you are still using 1.5 models, and sometimes this menu gets a little messy. So what I've done, you can go into the models directory under Stable Diffusion and just create a directory. Like for me, I created a directory called SDXL, and that's where I put all of my SDXL models, so that when I come in here and I want to find a particular model, let's say we want to find anything SDXL, so we can actually type in SDXL, and there's all your SDXL models right there. Whether they have SDXL in the name or not, but because I put that as the folder name, and Automatic 1111 automatically kind of adds that to the beginning of the name. I think that's a really cool feature for organizational purposes. You know, something you may want, something that is nice about that is you can do that in a lot of different menus. You can come up here and in the styles start typing, and it gives you anything that starts, you know, like I typed color. Here's all my different styles that have the word color in the name. And you can do that in other areas too, even on the checkpoint here. Open that back up. And, you know, anything where you would have a drop-down menu, you can actually type and just get to it a lot quicker. It's really cool. Love it. Another thing that I want to take note of is I'm not using the high-res fix as much as I did with the 1.5 models. You can still use it. What I've found is that it really extends the render time. And so I only use it if I have an image I absolutely want to do it on. Okay, and another thing that, so again, I don't use this as much. I still use it occasionally, okay, because it is nice getting that higher res, but a lot of times I'll still just move to image to image and use the Ultimate SD upscaler. So the other thing is a detailer. So when detailing faces, I do use this still, like when rendering people. It is nice. The SDXL models are really good at doing faces now. There are still issues dealing with eyes, teeth, things like that once in a while. So I do use this. It, you know, increases the render time just a little bit because it's taking time to reload the model that it uses to do the detailing and then moving back to the other model. But it is worth it to get those really good eyes and facial features. Okay, just a couple more things that I want to point out here before we wrap it up. One of the biggest changes that I love in the new Automatic 1111 version 1.6.0, it deals with the styles menu. So originally you had to go into the CSV file to edit the entries in there. You could add the entry there, but you had to, it wasn't very easy. It wasn't very convenient. They've added this button over here. Looks like a little pencil. It's their little edit styles button. When you click that, it brings up a new window where you have access to all of your styles. And so you can come in here and select the style, including negative prompts, and edit them directly within this interface here. Now, you can refresh it here, and it looks like they moved the button to push it to the main UI and the fields there into this window. But this has been incredibly helpful, being able to come in and refine your prompts. All right, sorry about that. I had to take my little one upstairs. So this is a great function to have, a great feature that allows you to really customize it. And one of the things that is great, if you look, let's see, where does it show this? I don't know where it showed this, but okay, so one of the features this has now is you can, let's say you, let me see if I have one in here. Probably my glass sphere one. Glass globe. Okay. Yeah, so this is absolutely amazing. This has been kind of a game changer on a couple different levels. So you can have your style, your prompt that you have programmed in here. And what this does is it goes in the styles, and then you put in this variable right here. So curly bracket, prompt, curly bracket. And what that does is it takes whatever you put in your positive prompt and puts it inserts it into that prompt, that style. So I'll show you here. So I'm going to pick my glass globe prompt. I'm not going to worry about a negative prompt. We're going to try it and see what it does. So we're going to do cute tiny teddy bear. And we're going to just leave everything else there. We're going to change this over to a 5x4 this time. We're going to shut off the script here. We don't want that script anymore. Leave everything else the same, I think. And generate. So what it's going to do is it's going to take this cute tiny teddy bear variable here, insert it into that prompt, and start rendering it using that instead. I love that prompt. It's such cute, such a cool prompt. So very cool feature. So start thinking about the different prompts that you have and the different parts of that prompt you could change. You know, you could insert a variable in. And I mean, you can, it's just really cool being able to do that and just render out anything you want. So you get kind of the same thing, but you get whatever modification to the prompt that you want. That one's a cool one. I love the book and everything on the table. That one turned out good. Give it a second to finish up. I want to see that one full size. Oh yeah, so I'm sure most of you have noticed that the SDXL prompts are much better at doing dragons for those who are interested in doing dragons. It does a phenomenal job. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. Got a little funkiness going down here on the lower jaw, but the rest of it is pretty darn cool. Anyway, I appreciate you taking the time to listen. Trying to keep these videos a little shorter than normal, but appreciate all of you and the feedback I get. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll start putting out some more videos. Talk to you later.